What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the GameFreak. Today we are going to talk about all of these Evercade Alpha reviews that we have been seeing, or at least I have, on YouTube. It's been in the algorithm quite a bit, and most of these are from, well, all of them are from pretty big YouTubers, people with like tons and tons of subscribers. And this isn't a jealousy thing at all. I mean, I'm fine uh, with them receiving the products. I mean, they put the work in, they deserve this, so I have nothing against that. The thing that I have a problem with is I have noticed that there's really not too much honesty in these reviews. And some of these guys, and I don't think I've seen any females, so I'm just saying guys. Some of these guys don't really play Evercade as much as all of us that are in the Evercade ecosystem. I think Blaze sent them to these guys because they know when these big channels do a review, they're going to get a lot of clicks. So I get it. However, I also think that there must be some type of clause in their partnership contract with Blaze where they just can't say anything negative about it because I haven't been in the Evercade ecosystem as long as many have. A lot of people, they got into it right in 2020. I didn't. I didn't get into it until about 2 years later. So even in the 2 years that I've been in it, I know for a fact that these things cannot be perfect because everything that I have gotten from Blaze, none of it's been perfect. Doesn't mean I don't like Blaze still. I don't expect perfection on everything. I mean, nothing out there is really perfect, but Blaze does have like this tendency where they kind of mess up here and there, and a lot of people don't call them out. I do, but I noticed that these bigger channels do not. So let's talk about this uh, Evercade Alpha. Let me grab something. Now I know what you're thinking. Why are you holding up a Miss Pac-Man arcade one-up machine? Well, I don't have an alpha, but this is how big the alpha is right here. Identical. Identical screen size, identical height, identical width, identical depth. Everything about this is to a T when it comes to the Evercade Alpha. Now, when it comes to that Miss Pac-Man arcade countertop, I spent $99.99 on that, pretty much $100. It was marked down at Target. Originally, it was $129.99, $130 pretty much. But it's not just Miss Pac-Man. There's like 4 or 5 other games built into it. And on top of that, I also have another countertop arcade which my wife bought me, and it's behind me right over here. This is the Marvel Superheroes, and this has 4 games on it, and it's 2 players. And she still spent under $200 on that. She got that at Target on sale for $149.99. It was originally $170, so got deals on that. But this isn't going to be just about the price of the alpha. There's some other things that I want to go over, so let's dig into this. But since we already just discussed the price, let's start with the price. Now they are $230 right now if you pre-order them, which I still think is a little bit high. But you have to also remember, after these pre-orders are done and after the release date, this thing's gonna shoot up in price. I guarantee you right now, it's gonna be up near $300. And I and a lot of other people say that's a little bit steep. I mean, yeah, they added 2 ports for your Evercade carts and everything, but 230 is a little bit steep. And I think people that are knocking on people for saying that's a little bit steep are complete assholes. I'm going to be completely honest about that. I went to and I don't care. I'll say the guy's name. This was on Metal Jesus Rocks, his review. I was going through the comments, and there was a guy on there that said this, and the reply is what got me, and the fact that nobody intervened and just called this guy out is, I think, ridiculous. And I think that's the reason why I like this community so much, because this stuff doesn't happen here. Okay, so the comment was $230 is way too much. I probably should have blocked these people's names out, but whatever. But the response was, not at all. Stop being poor. This thing could be $400 and it would still be worth it. Nobody said a thing to this T Money. It's like, are you kidding me? Stop being poor? How do you know this guy's poor? I mean, I doubt the guy is poor. He's probably just reasonable. He sees something and says, man, that thing's not even that big, like, at all. I just showed you how big the damn thing is, and $230 doesn't mean someone's poor. I'm not poor, and I have nothing against anyone that is poor. But to say stop being poor, it's like, come on, man. Someone's got to intervene with this. This is the reason right here why I don't care if I ever get products sent to me for reviews. Again, it's not a jealousy thing at all. I would love my channel to grow to the size that some of these channels are and everything, but I don't want, like, scumbags in the community like this. I mean, this is what I want to avoid. I'm happy with who I have right now. I hope that I keep getting more people like you guys, because this doesn't happen in this community. And I know it's bound to happen. It's YouTube, it's social media. You're gonna get that stuff. But I just thought that was that's a low blow, man. There's no need for that. Yeah, I'll say shit about people all the time, but I'm not gonna go and say stop being poor. I mean, that's just stupid. So some other issues that came up, and someone else brought these issues up too, and I wrote these down. It was crazy. I think Crazy Burger did something about this. So as of right now, when it comes to the Evercade Alpha, there are some carts that just don't work on it. Well, at least one that we know of, and that is the Cathedral and Always Awakening. And we had this problem with the Super Pocket, where there had to be a patch. Now they are saying, Blaze mentioned, I have this stuff wrote down so I didn't forget. Blaze did mention that there may also be issues with some natively running games. They've also said that these issues should be resolved at release. Now, when they're talking about natively run games, that could be anything from Full Void to Donut Dodo, maybe even the Duke Nukem 1 and 2 remasters. I mean, you never know. But do I, like, 100% believe that these issues are going to be resolved at release? Now, this ain't going to affect me because I'm not getting an alpha. I'm just giving everyone else a heads up. But do I believe this? No, I don't. I mean, that we've already seen the track record here. I highly doubt that these issues are going to be resolved. In fact, there's probably going to be some type of patch update that you have to do to get Cathedral to work. But at the same time, Cathedral is not a good game to play with an arcade stick, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Another thing that came up is there's no plastic protection over the buttons and the joystick like there is on the arcade 1-ups. I'm not saying that arcade 1-ups are, like, great or anything, because they're not. They've really went downhill since they've came out. They're actually pretty cheap, if you ask me now. But you do get that plastic or acrylic over the buttons and the joystick, which protects the artwork that's underneath. The alpha does not have that, which means after a while, I don't care if they say that the way that they painted these things, it's not going to wear off. It's going to wear off. There's going to be wear and tear over time, and that stuff is going to fade from people's hands resting on it. So I thought that was a big mistake not putting a protection, like a plastic protector, over that stuff. I mean, even Arcade 1 Up does that shit. I would have thought that Blaze would have done that as well. Um, the other thing is about the two-player experience. It looks absolutely horrible. You know, it's a one-player tabletop arcade, and I get it. But there is, I believe, there's two USB ports on it where you can plug in uh, another controller. But who wants to play two players on a, what is it, 10-inch screen or something like that? 8-inch, I forget exactly what the dimensions are. Whatever that arcade one up is that I showed you, that's the dimensions. I forget what the screen is though. It's either 8 or 10 inch. But two players, come on, man. One person's going to be sitting there right in front of you, and their hands are going to be kind of, blocking some of the screen from that joystick and where the buttons are. So I just thought that was kind of stupid. The other thing was the slots where you put the games. I wasn't sure at first until I seen some pictures if there might be like some plastic flaps that come down and block the I guess teeth where the cart slides in, and there's not. It's just open. So unless you keep a cart in there or two carts in there all the time, that's exposed to like dust and stuff. And who knows? I don't know if that's going to end up being a problem in the future or not. Or, if you have cases for your super pockets, I guess you can use them dummy carts and shove them in there. But you would have just thought they would have taken a little more time and maybe put like some type of plastic flap over it. The other thing was, again, I'm sorry, I keep looking down. I have this stuff wrote down so I wouldn't forget. Um, the other thing is, like I was talking about Cathedral, not all carts are meant to be played on an arcade. And I can tell you this firsthand. My freecade back there, the arcade carts work great. A few red carts work pretty good and they control fine, but there's just some games that are not meant to be played with an arcade stick. That's just the way it is, especially like these older games, like the Tomb Raider games. I will tell you right now, play like absolute dog shit with a arcade stick. You need a D-pad for that stuff. The arcade stick just does not work. Legacy of Kain is another one. You want shoulder buttons with that because you have to like hold down to like start turning the camera angle and stuff. Well, when I play on the freecade, I have to hit a button and hold that, and it's just not a good experience at all. When I play that game, I always plug in a controller. Now, I don't know if you can just plug a controller into an alpha and use that instead of the stick. I think that's just a second player or third player option on it. I'm not real positive on that, so I can't really dig into that too much. But it just, yeah, people just need to realize unless you're planning on only playing arcade games on that thing, you're probably not going to be happy with the experience on some of these other carts, especially a lot of the red cart games. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was the alpha only has 6 buttons. So is that enough to play every game? I don't know. I'm not sure if that is enough because there are a few games that I believe, and I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe there are a few games where, you use all 4 shoulder buttons. I'm not sure if Cathedral is one of them, where you pretty much use all the buttons. Um, I think Legacy of Kain is another one that you have to use all the buttons. So six buttons to me isn't going to be enough. The other thing was, you know, this is going back to the people that received them for review, and they just never seem to be very honest with these reviews. And I'm not calling them people, these YouTubers, liars or anything like that. I just think that, like I said earlier in the video, I think that there has to be like some type of clause in their contract where they just can't say anything negative about any of the products that they review, because they left out a lot in these reviews. Like a lot. There's so many questions out there, and I'm just trying to give everyone a heads up before they go and spend that much money, especially on a little tabletop arcade, you know? And I get it. This is where I want to get into like my Freecade. I spent less building a full size cabinet. My Freecade, which is pretty much a full size Alpha, because it is powered by my VS. My subscribers know that, but if you are new to this channel, then maybe you don't. But I am going to show you this. I totally understand. Maybe you don't have the room for a full size arcade cabinet, and you know these Alphas are probably a perfect size for the room that you have. Totally get that. I understand that. But the price point is just mind-boggling to me, because like I said, that Freecade back there, you know, I have I think a 42-inch screen in that, hardware and all. Hardware, lumber, everything. I spent less building that than what these Alphas are going for. So I do like to try to save people some money, and I want to show you some stuff. So I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison here. So bear with me. This is going to be kind of crappy audio because I am going to use my smaller, you know, portable mics for this. So let's go check this out. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is a full-size arcade cabinet that I built, which I like to call the Freecade. And it is powered by my Evercade VS. Now, thing is, you know, like the Alpha, it doesn't have any protection for those carts where, you know, I have the VS in here. I can close that. I'm not going to get dust and stuff in there. And if I don't want to use the arcade stick, you know, I got extra controls in here that I can just unplug this and hook up a controller. Now my arcade stick is mounted into this. This is going nowhere. I mean, it's really in there. And as you can see, I have 8 buttons. I have more than 8 buttons. I have buttons up here too for like start, the home button, and all that stuff. But I do have the option to play every single game that Evercade offers on their carts. So that's a plus, but like I said, a lot of the games on them red carts, they're just not meant for this. Not meant for this at all. This thing plays all the arcade carts just fine, but you know, there are some games on the red carts that just don't play well. So that's when I unhook this thing very easily, just unplug it, plug in a controller, and off I go. Now, a lot of people are saying, okay, well, the Evercade Alphas have, you know, 6 extra games on there, like the Street Fighters and the Mega Mans. Okay, well, that's fine. I have a way around that too. What I did was this. All I have to do is hit a button on my remote and I switch it over to another HDMI output. And this is what I have. I have over 40,000 games on here. So many different emulators. Paid like 20 bucks for this game stick, which I have connected in along with the Evercade VSR. So, you know, I mean, look at just the arcade classics on here. I mean, you have everything. The list goes on and on. So I really couldn't pass this up. I just think that you're saving a lot more money doing it this way than you are paying that outrageous price that the alpha is asking. I mean, like I said, right now it seems a little bit reasonable at 230 bucks, but eventually that thing is going to be right around 300 bucks after that pre-order price. So by no means am I trying to shy anyone or push anyone away from getting an alpha. If you want one, get one. I just personally think that they're way overpriced. Um, the pre-order price is probably the best price that you're going to see on these things, because like I said, right when that pre-order's done, them things are going to shoot up. I guarantee they're going to be almost 300 bucks. So, I showed you the Freecade. Now, let's say you don't have the room to have a full-size arcade cabinet in your house and these alphas are the perfect size. Well, if you want to save a little bit of money and build your own, I got a few things or suggestions for you where you can save some money. If you go to Amazon, you can get a 10-inch screen for 55 bucks, which really isn't that bad. It's not the greatest, but hey, 55 bucks, you can get your buttons and the arcade stick for 25.99. I mean, and if you want, you can upgrade them buttons later, but this will get you started. And then, of course, if you went and bought like a VSR, now those are 99 bucks. And maybe you bought one and you have a spare VS now, like I do. Uh, there you go. Right there is your power supply. And if you want those 12 games, 6 on each alpha, if you want those games included, get a game stick. You can get them for like 20 bucks. You can find these things so cheap. You can go to AliExpress, you can go to Amazon, wherever you want to order them from, but they're not expensive. And you're going to have more than 12 games. You're going to have 40,000 games. So you're going to have anything that you want. And on top of that, if you build your own, you don't have to play every game with a arcade stick. You can unhook them, unhook that and plug in your controller and use a controller on the games that just play like shit with an arcade stick. So I'm just trying to save some people money, but let's get back to what this video was about, and these are about the reviews from these bigger YouTube channels. Again, I have nothing against them getting products sent to them for review, but it just sucks that, to me anyway, and I don't think it's just me, I think other people see through the bullshit too. They're not being completely honest with these reviews, because you hardly hear anything negative about any of these products. When there is something negative, they kind of sugarcoat it, and that's just not cool to me. Yeah, I want my channel to grow and everything, but I'm always going to be 100% honest with my subscribers. I'm not going to sit there and sugarcoat shit. If there's something wrong with something, I'm going to say it. And these guys just don't seem to do it. And obviously they're doing something right because they've grown so big. Again, this ain't a jealousy thing. I'm happy for them. They put the work in. They grew their channel. That's awesome. I can appreciate that. But I guess it would be awesome to be that big. But at the same time, I'm not going to sell myself out and not tell the truth on things and not be 100% transparent with my subscribers when it comes to products. If that's the case, I wouldn't want a company to send me a product. And I didn't start a channel on YouTube to get free shit. That's definitely not the reason why I started this channel. I'm having fun with what I'm doing now. So I really don't care if I ever got anything sent to me to review. But I can guarantee you this. If it ever does happen, I guess I won't be getting paid by them because, and I'm not saying just Blaze, I'm talking any company, because I will be 100% completely honest. If something sucks, I'm going to say it sucks. Something's good, I'm going to say it's good. But if it does have some bad features on it, I'm going to bring that up too. So I just wanted to put that out there. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me. I just personally think that these bigger YouTubers, they're just not being honest with their reviews, and it's a shame because a lot of people, like, I don't want to say look up to them, but I guess some people do. They look up to these channels and they just believe everything that they are saying, and they rely on that when they're about to fork out 250 bucks on a product. And I just don't think that's right. Just be honest. That's what I'm going to do, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. So if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps out this channel a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. And until the next video, game on, everybody.